Frank and Nick both couldn't make it tonight because they're too tired. Oh, I forgot to do the screen regions.
Whatever.
Oh,
He'll be all right. Do it on the fly there.
I will. There's only two of us tonight, so it's not going to take me long.
It's good.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Yeah.
Super quick, like.
It happens, man. It happens.
I knew I forgot.
No, I know. Everyone's tired. Hey, remember those times where you're too tired to sit in a chair and talk to people? Fucking Nick and Frank.
Here we go. Boom. There he is.
Yep.
You're supposed to plug Elhaim, Mike. Don't forget. I need a hilarious picture to use for Nick's song. Let's see what I can get here. Let's just go to his Facebook.
So many possibilities.
Really is. It's endless. It'd be easier to, or harder to find a normal picture.
Put up a picture of Terry from NASL.
Why?
Just because they're the same level of awkward, I think.
Let's see what I can find here. Here we go. This one's pretty good. Nice quality too. It's not even grainy.
Nice.
It's super grainy.
Bro.
Here it comes. Here it comes. He has a child with
That
him.
is excellent. Did he just drag the child out of a lake? That's
It would
what
seem that
looks
way.
like.
Oh, the picture's too big, and now it shows up on the other side. What a train wreck.
Yeah, no problems there.
Let's see what I can do here. Screw it. Nick's song will just be a blank box, because that's what he is tonight. He's a void. All right, now that we have that figured out, welcome everybody to Esports Canada, episode number 47. I'm your host, John Quinn, at Quinn in the Net. You can follow me or not, I don't care. My two hosts, my regular hosts at ESC Songers and at ESC Jovian, Nick and Frank, will not be joining me this evening as they are tired. Not that I am. I didn't do anything this weekend.
No.
I didn't do a single thing. It was
Lazy.
a calm weekend. Oh man, I'm going to rip into them tonight. Something fierce. And so, in a pinch, I was able to pull in someone you may know, or not, I don't know.
Okay.
Endersword, David, East Coast Connection tonight. The casting butter knife.
Yeah. That's what it is. Toast boy.
A toast sword.
Yeah, toast sword.
So, we're going to be talking a lot about Dota, and so that should be interesting, because I know little to nothing. Although I did watch a ton of TI3 on the weekend, and Dave, I know you play Sniper and Sniper only. Is that true?
Only I played 3 games of Sniper today.
Fantastic.
I think my kill death was 71-5. Oh, sorry, 71-8. I don't want to exaggerate.
That's pretty good.
Oh.
So tonight, to join us, our guest will hopefully be bringing some Dota knowledge. He runs some Dota events out in Vancouver. And so he's going to be bringing the knowledge, dropping the bombs on us. So Michael Medley from UBCeSports, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for taking me on. I'm kind of excited to talk about Dota and UBCeSports and esports in general.
Fantastic. That's what we do here. Not so much talk about Dota, but
Yeah.
we do sometimes. I'm actually super excited when I realized that we were having you on the show tonight to talk about Dota, because last night I didn't watch the International last year. I watched maybe 2 minutes of it, and then this year, I kind of followed the hype leading up to it and checked out the teams and everything. I watched the first day, a bit of the second, a bit of the third. And then I was running an event all weekend. We were streaming TI3, and so I sat down when I could, watched a bit here and there, and I made it home just in time for the grand finals last night and watched all 5 games and was absolutely blown away. I was instantly a fan of everything that was going on the screen. So
there was definitely a good show that was put on.
I'm very excited to talk about that. But first, I want to get to know you. So why don't you tell me where you're from, where you live now, and how you got involved with esports?
I live in Vancouver, British Columbia. I've lived here my entire life. I just graduated from UBC. I was one of the founders of originally the UBC StarCraft Club, which then became UBC Esports Association. We grew from 0 members to 70 members over the course of like 4 months, and then from 70 members we went to like 300 over the course of the next year, and then after that we were like 700, 800, something like that. We have branched out to do more than just StarCraft. Obviously, we now do StarCraft, Dota, League of Legends, fighting games, FPS games, and things like that. We run all sorts of events. We run things like coaching nights, GSL nights, MLG barcrafts, pub stomps, and basically anything and everything. Online tournaments, LAN tournaments. We even take on like volunteers from like high schools to give them like volunteer hours and stuff like that.
Nice. So what have been your big events so far in 2013?
In 2013, let's see, there was Vancouver. We ran a tournament back over spring break. There was there's like a lot of them. There's at least like eight or so LANs, and then on top of that there was a couple online tournaments, and I helped out with like Anime Evolution, doing some of the console stuff. In terms of other stuff that we ran with UBCeSports, we're always just doing our bar crafts and whatnot, Pubstomp, etc.
So was this the first big Dota event of the year, or were you running tournaments?
We've run 1 or 2 online tournaments, including a 1v1 tournament, and on top of that, we also ran our major LAN tournament, which we had like players from Dignitas come out to, like Curtis and Way Too Sexy and stuff like that.
Wow. And did they take the tournament?
No, they didn't actually.
Oh, wow.
That's a good story. They sort of threw the game, shall we say. They picked Spirit Breaker in one of the games, and they started fighting over who would get solo XP off lane, and so eventually they just sort of got overwhelmed.
See, that's what happens when one person is way too sexy.
Exactly.
The egos start to go, and they can't.
Gio who came out. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. So this was the first pub stomp then for the Vancouver area?
Yeah, the first viewing event for or at least the first like paid at a bar viewing event for Dota. We did it last year for I can't remember what we did it for DreamHack. That's right. Yeah. We did it for DreamHack, but it was just on campus.
I've definitely heard a ton about EXP restaurants. What can you tell me about that place? I've always wanted to go. I've only been to Vancouver once, and it didn't exist when I was there, but I've heard it's a pretty magical spot. So what goes down at EXP on a regular basis?
Okay, so EXP Bar is a gaming-themed bar. It has all sorts of crazy stuff. It has like drinks and game-themed food items. If you can go into like the bathrooms, there's like posters for all the upcoming events and whatnot all over the walls. They have all sorts of like statues and just a nice atmosphere in general. They have like some games you can play up at the front of the bar. What their ideal vision was to be a place you could go and actually play games like at your tables at the restaurant. But because it's Vancouver and because licenses and laws are always really, really stupid, and I don't know, it feels like they go out of their way to make everything as unfun as possible. Something to do with the liquor licensing board doesn't allow games like in the same area as...
they associate it with gambling, and then it becomes...
It wasn't actually that. Like, part of it was just like sort of archaic laws not really being updated, and then I think they've gotten care of like at least some of that. But yeah,
back in the day, people just get drunk and played chess, and they'd lose all kinds of horses and daughters and stuff.
Cool. So it was pretty much a no-brainer then when you were looking for a spot to host Pubstomp, or?
We've run bar crafts at all of these different places, like bigger venues like Forum and G Sports, and we ran one at PCIT, which has this big pub area, and a couple other places. We had Kaylee's. Kaylee's was actually a really nice venue. So the reason why we chose the EXP Bar for this one was, one, because this was like our first major Dota event. We were like, we're not sure exactly how many people will come out to it.
Yep.
So we chose this event because, one, it's a little bit on the smaller side. Its maximum capacity is only like 80. The really beautiful thing about it, aside from the fact that it's like a great environment, it's like gaming themed, is that it's super easy for us to organize that. Like, all of their stuff is hooked up. They actually have a decent internet connection, like unlike any other bars, like anywhere in Canada. And it means that you don't have issues with like streams going down and stuff like that. They have their own computer set up. Like, I don't have to deal with like some little brick from like the 90s trying to struggle to do anything over 480. But yeah, and I don't have to bring in any cables. I don't have to do my own wiring for the AV stuff. It's really easy for me. That's one of the reasons why I chose it.
And you definitely have the benefit of it already being a gaming themed bar. So if people just show up not knowing this event's going on, they're probably going to stick around and hang out.
Oh, well, we sold out like a couple weeks before our event even happened, so that wasn't an option for this. But yeah, it does help for events where we wouldn't be sold out.
Because I mean, when I've run bar crafts, I get stumbling drunks that roll in, and they're just like, "What is this witchcraft?
I love that.
What's going on?" We had. I've told the story before, but we had like a pretty much homeless guy stumble in, and we were just like, like what's going to happen here? And he looked at the screen and was like, is this Husky or HD StarCraft? And we were just like, what? And he was like, he should bunker rush Reapers. And we were just like, what? Like, just talking about all these like really early like Wings of Liberty strats, and it was like at the end of Wings, and we were just like, this guy definitely played like a year ago.
I always see the people wander in, and then I hate when they ask in an awkward way. Like, they'll ask like, what game is this? And then I'll start to answer, it's Navi versus Alliance. And then they're like, no, what game is this? What's happening?
I have to close my window because there's a massive amount of construction happening outside right now. It's really making me angry. So 2 seconds.
Very well. Very well. John's a really unprofessional and horrible person. Like, just in general. But, whatever. What are you gonna do? Is Okay, apparently that was his cat.
Mm-hmm.
His cat makes beeping sounds when he backs up only.
Where did it learn that at?
School.
School.
The schools out east are really different.
I've heard.
It's amazing,
they have, like,
actually.
Grade 13 and stuff like that.
Yeah, like all kinds of things. They learn French, but it's Acadian. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. Hi, John.
What are we talking about?
What? How you speak fluent Acadian and your cat beeps when it backs up.
I went to go close the window, and then the cat jumped up in between the window on the outside. He was trapped in there with the window closed.
Nice.
Oh, God. I blame Nick and Frank.
Me too.
So, where were we? First event, EXP Restaurant, is amazing. The turnout, you guys sold out before the event even started, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. And so, how was the atmosphere all day? Do you have any pictures that I could show on stream?
I didn't actually take any pictures because I was the only representative there, and I just...
You ran this solo?
Thing. Yeah.
I run my event solo, too.
Yeah.
Dave.
Usually,
Did you stay in the middle of the restaurant, or...?
Usually we run the events with a bunch of helpers, but at this one, because we live in Vancouver, we're right.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Yeah, you probably lost a lot of people who went to the actual event instead of going to watch it in the back.
Oh, for sure. Like our regular group of like 30 or so, are all down in Seattle. So I was quite happy at our turnout. On top of that, I was actually going to go down to Seattle, but the final exam of my final course of my undergrad was supposed to happen today, actually. But so I sold my international ticket to a friend down in Seattle, and I found out a couple weeks after that my exam had an optional earlier date, which was like the week before the international. So what am I going to do, right? Might as well run Barcraft in Vancouver, right?
Fair enough. At least you still get to experience, that crowd atmosphere for it.
Oh yeah. No, it was really hype in EXP Bar because it was pretty packed, right? Like just people side by side, just lined up there, and the bar was really great about all of it. Like they gave us some stuff to raffle off, and they made team shots and things like that. So like special colored drinks and.
That's so sick.
And when Navi won, I think it was game 2. When Navi won game 2 in the finals, the entire bar was just going absolutely nuts. Everyone was up on their feet, and Brian comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, we just slapped together this shot for Navi," and it's like, "Why don't you announce it?" So.
And you instantly sold 500 of them.
It was actually pretty great because we were doing a raffle, right? And we were raffling off one of the Dota 2 pint glasses. And so I read off the ticket number, and I realize it's actually my ticket number, like, as I'm reading it off. So everyone's like, "Oh!" And I'm like, "Well, okay, I can't accept this, right?" It's like the first time I've ever won a raffle at any of our events. Can't accept it. So I'm like, what am I going to do? So I ask, okay, first person to buy me one of the Navi shots gets the glass. And like 5 people jump up in the air, and they're like, me. And so, shortly after that, everyone just like buys up an entire pub's worth of shots for everyone. So
sweet. We had almost an identical thing happen. We had Mario, who was helping out at our pub stomp, and he was pulling all the tickets all night. And then at one point he decided for like our biggest prize, which is a nice mechanical keyboard, I'll get some this girl from the audience to do it. And then picks her, she pulls out her own ticket, and we didn't know.
Dave, you're frozen. David. We're losing him. Well, there's a problem with the call, people. So for the next 2 minutes, while we try to get this back, it's going to be the John Quinn Show. Which, there's been worse shows. Like the Nick and Frank Show, who couldn't make it tonight. For this 2 minutes, while we try and get this call back, I'm just going to end the call. And then someone can call me back when that is ready. In the meantime, I'll probably just run an ad for 30 seconds. So that's good. And Toronto Internet, Toronto Standard. I do have some pictures I can definitely put up of the Fredericton Gaming Expo that happened over the weekend once this commercial's finished. Where do I have those? Here we are. So the Fredericton Gaming Expo, which I'll be talking about a little bit later. I have a few photos of the event. Just trying to get Dave and Michael back. But in the meantime, we can look at these pretty things. So that was the Call of Duty station. On another level, the team from Fredericton ended up taking that tournament. It's casual stations, people playing Star Fox, I believe. And what else we got here? This is part of the Marvel tournament. I did play my first ever game of Marvel competitively, not in a tournament. It was after hours against one of the players, Kirby Kai. He beat me 2 games in a row, and then in the third game, I ended up getting a times up win. Word on the street is that he was sandbagging me though, and he chose a terrible team, which he most definitely did. But a win is a win, and I'll take it. And that's some more COD action. I think also some more COD action. Whoever the photographer was definitely had a thing for Call of Duty. I'm going to try calling the group back and see what happens here.
Hey, I'm back.
Good. Michael's back. Let's see if Dave answers. Let's see if Dave answers the phone.
Okay. So, what did I just drop, or?
I think it was Dave. And Dave was hosting the call, and then we lost Dave. So.
Got it.
I don't think Dave's going to pick back up. So it looks like it's just you and I tonight on EsportsCanadaTV.
Right.
Which I'm not completely opposed to. So let me just fix the screen regions here. Dave will probably show back up in 2 minutes after I get these screen regions done. So fantastic. Good. Skype decides to switch the positions as soon as I do the screen. And again, wow. I did the screen reasons twice and a person drops out of the call. So mad. So mad. Alright, there we go. We're totally back. So, yeah, let's talk about the actual event, TI3. I mean, I definitely followed kind of the results of TI2. I watched a lot of the after videos, the hype, the famous play, etc., and kind of got into it that way. I definitely haven't followed the Dota scene since then. I'll tune into random streams now and then just to check and see, what the latest and greatest tournament, what they're kind of offering. But TI3, I mean, the production value alone was just like mind-boggling.
Absolutely off the wall.
In terms of like what they were showing, just everything was so clean, so professionally done. The table they had, the people talking, everything was just absolutely amazing. And then the games themselves. So I mean, heading into the tournament, I don't know too much about the teams. I know Alliance and Navi were obviously pretty heavy favorites to at least go far into the tournament. Were there any upsets? I know Liquid picked up a win there when they definitely weren't supposed to. What were kind of the teams that overperformed and who underperformed in the last couple of days?
Well, I'd say one of the biggest upsets is just the fact that no Chinese teams made it anywhere nearly as far as anyone was expecting them to. In the international too, there was just this huge tide of Chinese teams, and it was literally just Navi solo alone, just battling against this huge numbers of Chinese teams. And, partially, this is all just due to balance and availability of tournaments and just sort of timing and whatnot. Easiness of Chinese teams to actually find time to play with each other and practice.
Yeah.
Less of a language barrier for some of the European and otherwise teams. But yeah, this year I'd say that the coolest thing was just the fact that we had a bunch of Europeans still doing really well, and then we had Orange Esports, the Malaysian team, who's doesn't really play at all like the Chinese teams. They're very aggressive. They're almost European in terms of how they play.
Yeah.
They went up into the top 3, right? That was a really great thing to see up there. So I was excited about that. In terms of major upsets, I think everyone expected IG and LGD to do pretty well, but at least LGD International, I wanted to see them go a little bit farther. Dignitas, I wanted to see them go a little bit farther, but that's sort of a Canadian bias speaking. I like to see Liquid going far because of TC. He's also Canadian. But
yeah. And for you, what was the series of the tournament? Was it the finals?
Well, the finals are amazing, man. I don't think you can say that the finals weren't the best series, probably. But the series with Navi against was it MUFC, where they were doing the fountain hooks with Pudge? that was actually nice.
I missed that game, against Tong Fu, it was Tong Fu, and then I started watching. There was a recap where it showed all of them today. I think it was 5 or 6, and I was just I did not know this was even possible.
Yeah.
Oh man, and is it AC? Is that the guy's the caster's name?
Oh yeah, ISE.
ISE. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the stuff he was saying during all the Pudge hooks into the fountain. He was on the road back to Shanghai. He's welcome home. So good. Yeah, I did not know that was that a super hard thing to pull off? Is that...
It's very, very timing strict. It's basically impossible to do on an online setting. You pretty much need a local setting in order for it to be possible, because it's down to
Is it pretty much frame exact It's
pretty much half a second window where you can actually land the hook.
Okay.
And then you have to take into account the fact that your target you're trying to hit is moving.
Yeah.
And it all combines together to make it sort of impossible. Also, the fact that you have to coordinate between 2 separate players, a timing of half a second, and then...
Yeah, what is the actual sequence of events that happens?
Okay. So there's a hero called Chen.
Yeah.
He has, the ability, where you can click on an ally or an allied unit and send it back to base. And it has a timer of a couple seconds, I can't remember exactly what.
Yeah.
And it can't get interrupted by anything. You can't stun them out of it. You can't,
Right. As soon as he pulls it, then, yeah.
It finishes the cooldown, you're going back to the base no matter what.
Yeah.
Now, Pudge has this ability with a hook, right? It's basically a projectile with a chain attached to it.
Yep.
He throws it at someone. If it latches, they get pulled back to his location.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you time it correctly, as long as you can throw the hook before you get sent back to base, as long as the hook is still traveling once you're back in base and it hits someone, they'll be pulled all the way back into the fountain. And Mr. Fountain isn't so nice to enemies.
Now, is that seen as like a glitch in game, or is that like perfectly acceptable play? Like
a bug, but it's sort of a part of intended gameplay, I guess, is how you can sort of look at it.
It looks broken when you watch. Like, it depends on how far away. When they're pulling from like almost base to base, it's just like, okay, like this doesn't seem exactly right. But
it's definitely a very powerful ability when it happens. You almost never see it except for in LAN settings, so it's a little bit less of an issue than you would see otherwise in a lot of tournaments. It also just takes like a lot of skill just to land a hook at max range to begin with, and then on top of that, to make sure that you actually time it properly. And it's pretty expensive of an investment, because every time you miss it, you have to basically buy another TP scroll and TP back out to lane again, and you're not on the map when you get sent back.
Yeah. So
it may or may not be imbalanced. There was the whole issue with How and a couple other players saying it was kind of on the iffy side for balance. And PUBG agrees that it's a little bit powerful, but who knows? There was a lot of things in Dota 1 that were sort of pseudo broken, that were just as a result of the game engine or how they were programming it. And in Dota 2, there's a couple of those that were carried over. A couple of them weren't. So, for instance, one of the reasons why Visage is actually like the most picked hero, or I can't remember if he's the most picked hero, but he's one of the like top 3 or 4 in this tournament. One of the reasons why he was so popular was because his little bird things, can't remember what they're called anymore, but they're immune to stuns and things like that in the current balance, just due to sort of a bug almost in terms of how they're made. So you can sort of see how it's a matter of, do you patch the bug and change the game, like the gameplay and how the balance works for the entire game, or what, right?
Yeah. So I want to talk about the finals specifically. I mean, I was super hyped going into it. I was talking with friends earlier when I was at the Fredericton Gaming Expo on like Saturday when we were watching. I think it was like the semis or just before that, and we were saying, who do we want in the finals? And everyone was saying like, oh, it'd be so crazy if it was Na'Vi versus Alliance. Like then you get the 2 like European teams, and I was like, yeah, but wouldn't you rather have like 1 European team and 1 Chinese team, and then you get that really like good and evil? And they were like, no, like we want like the 2 European teams, like so no matter who wins. So it was definitely, what would you say, it was like 80-20 for Na'Vi in terms of for fan support.
This may be just partially demographics of Vancouver, but there was at least a good 30% that probably wanted Orange at least to go in, or they wanted some of the other teams. I know there's a lot of fans of DK, right? So
yeah. But in terms of like just the finals, like, do you think it was pretty well in favor of Na'Vi?
It's definitely in favor of Na'Vi, but there were still some fans for Orange.
So I mean, going into game 1, was it a 16-minute game that was just a complete stomp by Alliance? Yeah. Can you walk me through exactly what went wrong there for Na'Vi?
I can't remember exactly what the draft is. Give me a second just to bring up the bot, and I'll find it. But basically what happened was they fucked up the laning a little bit, and they could have probably dragged the game on for another 20 minutes before they lost.
Well, they went for that really weird composition where it was all about super early game, where they had no one that was going to be any decent mid to late game, and so they were really putting all their eggs in one basket that they needed to win in that first 10 minutes, right?
Oh, and Vengeful Spirit game.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the Veno and Vengeful Spirit game. Okay, let me just bring it up. 1 of 5 English. Great. So yeah, the draft was okay. So the draft was first bans were Nikes. This is sort of targeted at Havorst, right? Like it's his hero. He's basically one of the best players of Lifestealer in general. Lifestealer has a free BKB, obviously a good ability, and he just farms up pretty quick. He gets pretty beefy, and he lets you really force the issue in a lot of things. Na'Vi has been banning out Chen a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what the reasoning is on all of this, but basically it sort of boils down to the fact that they don't want a lot of pocket strats, pocket push strats that are enabled by having a really good jungler / pusher like Chen. It also gives you a lot of really good late game. Like, it's just a really good hero in general.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
A little bit of a quirky draft, like getting the Batrider and Visage first pick. That's really great. You have solid lane options in form of the Batrider, or a jungler in forms of the Batrider. Denny hasn't seen playing that much Batrider prior to the international, but it's a pretty straightforward hero. Like, he'll make good plays. He'll play it well. And I know there's a couple. They've picked up Venomancer a couple times, and it's sort of almost just a callback to TI3, right? Back when he was the #1 spell in the entire game at level 1, Venomous Gale. But the concept was to try and dominate the lanes really early.
Yeah.
But the last pick on where is it? What was the last pick on the game here?
On game 1?
Yeah, when I'm trying to find it. Oh yeah, Clockwork. Okay, so if I remember correctly, it was a dual lane of Gyrocopter and Wisp on bottom lane, and I think Enchantress started out on bottom lane and then rotated up top, and it ended up just being Wisp and Gyro on bottom against the Bounty Hunter, right?
Yep.
So I think they managed to get first blood on the Bounty Hunter. I don't think they were really expecting to just have Alliance swap the Enchantress up to the top. They weren't really expecting them to dual lane bottom. It's like my interpretation of it. I could be full of shit. So off a little bit. Probably there was a little bit of miscommunication, and they just started getting picked off here and there. They didn't have the greatest play, and the runes didn't really go their way very well, so it just sort of all resulted in like Gyrocopter getting pretty farmed pretty early on. They took a couple towers, Wisp hit level 6 with a good time, and it just meant that they couldn't ever get on the map without getting picked off by all the global presence that they have in Nature's Prophet and Wisp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was funny. I mean, after that game, it was, 16 minutes, and I didn't even know Dota games could be that quick. And I was just like, wow. I was like, is this just going to be like a 3-0 stomp? Like, I thought Na'Vi was supposed to be, like, unstoppable and, like, and really give them games. But
the defense a little while ago, where I think Toby jokingly challenged one of the teams to take a Rax before 10 minutes, and they took a Rax at, like, 8 minutes and 30 seconds with a push strat.
Wow.
So, yeah, I think that was a 11-minute GG or something.
Wow.
Yeah, a little crazy. That definitely looked, well, obviously one-sided, but it was exciting to watch how one-sided it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even I think it was game 1, game 2, and game 4 were all, like, pretty quick stomps. Like, there was some pretty early GGs. Game 3 was still like pretty one-sided. It did go a bit longer, but then game 5 was just like, oh my god, like
on a dime. Like, people have been sort of talking about how like there was the 3-man dream coil and how, you know, $1 million dream coils and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like canceling the TPs of Na'Vi, trying to come back to stop the racks from going down, and it's sort of tough to say whether or not that dream coil alone is like the deciding factor. Obviously it is like very, very important, and that is a result, and that will basically let them get the racks in that specific instance. But you could trace it back a little bit earlier to, for instance, like a decision made to try and actually force and get the mid racks there. They could have tried to come back after taking the tower and maybe leave 1 or 2 back. Because we did know that the CA and the Wisp were on bottom and the Nature's Prophet was on top. They could have tried to leave 1 or 2 on top, 1 or 2 in mid lane and try and force it out. But as it was, because they got the Dream Coil, canceling the TPs, there was no way they're going to be able to defend the racks, and they just lost 2 sets of racks for 1 in the mid lane, and mid racks are much less important than the side racks. And against like global presence with Wisp and the split push of a really, really farmed up Nature's Prophet, you're never going to be able to come back from 2 racks going down.
Yeah, I mean, early in Game 5, it definitely looked like everything was kind of going Navi's way. They got the pick in mid against Puck. Who was it for Dendy?
Well, it was a Dendy on Puck, a Batrider in the jungle, and...
No, Dendy Dendy didn't choose Puck. He was against Puck.
Sorry.
He chose can't remember her name.
Oh, Templar Assassin. That's right. Templar Assassin.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Templar Assassin was in mid lane against the Puck. That's right.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good matchup for Templar Assassin, and he was definitely doing pretty well. Like he got some kills going on, and
he was rolling there for a while, and then he took the really bad Roche engagement.
That fight was actually nuts. Like it went on for like the better part of like 7 minutes, and that was at like 15 minutes into the game or something like that.
Yeah.
I think every single person in the entire game fought back except for I think like Dendy maybe. And
what were the
some buybacks on cooldown from the previous fight before that for Alliance. So
yeah. What were the tower, like when he was kiting him around the tower in bottom lane in the first for like first blood and stuff when he went 2 for 1? Oh my god, man, that was so intense. I was just like, this is not happening. Like, how are you still alive? He's on like a millimeter of health. Oh man. No, I'm definitely converted. I will definitely be watching more Dota at this point.
You get to watch the documentary.
Which documentary?
The documentary that they showed on stream. During the international stream on Saturday.
I did not see that.
You should definitely check that out. It's not officially released yet, but they might have a copy of it somewhere on the internet. I don't know. But it got a lot of people really pumped up and excited for Na'Vi just because of how they sort of like portrayed them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of passion on the team.
I saw some people complaining about the post game, how it was just kind of, there was no actual award ceremony, there was no Gaben. There was no, they just kind of...
I was a little bit upset about the note, Gabe. I think the reasoning behind sort of the semi-rushed awards ceremony was due to the fact that Valve runs a pretty tight ship. They like to stay on schedule. Their schedule was ending at 6.
They're new to esports then, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, they've been running the international.
No, I just meant every other tournament since the dawn of time runs 5 hours away from schedule. No one ever runs on time.
Well, yeah, but I think this year they wanted to make sure that they stayed on schedule, and their estimated times were 6 to 9 p.m. So they probably had like alternative scenarios and setups for if like it went 3-0 right off the bat. They might have tried to have a little bit more footage to put on stream just people were running events, right? Because they made a big deal about actually supporting barcrafts and pubstomps, and the fact that they were actually sending out sponsorship material, so they had a pretty vested interest in terms of how well the viewing events were going to go, because they're trying to go at it from a sort of a different demographic than say Riot or Blizzard does, where they're just like, hey, if you contact us, we'll give you some stuff maybe. Blizzard, not so much for barcrafts.
I got a big bag of swag from Blizzard.
Shitty little things, but what Valve gave us is just actually nuts.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, Dave, you guys got a pretty good prize pack.
We got a big load of stuff. We basically ended up with a 25-pound box of stuff to give out, and people were quite happy with everything. They had like the couriers, plushies, blow up doll, donkeys or whatever the hell. Courier's axe, blow up things. It was just a ton of stuff. Posters for like 50 of them, like just crazy amounts of stuff. People were so happy. Pretty much everyone got something if they wanted it, because we got hundreds of like these lanyards and coasters and things like that. There was literally enough to give something to everybody.
Nice. And how was the rest of the event? I know I have a sweet picture. The opening picture I used tonight on the show was from the event. I mean, was it 250-person theater down at the projection booth?
Yeah. About 250 seats. We had at one point certainly over 300 in the theater itself.
Mm-hmm.
When we set out, we didn't know what the expectation. Like I think Mike here, we didn't know how many people were going to want to come, and then we were surprised by the actual results of how many people it was. We ended up with close to 400 registering on Facebook that they were going to come, and then we were kind of like, okay, this venue is actually too small to accommodate that. But we did our best there, and it was quite hot. There were people like sitting in the aisles and stuff, but hopefully everyone had a good time despite the crowdedness. But such is the nature of events like that. We'd used that theater before for StarCraft with like 100 and something people, and that was great. 3 times as many is pushing it, but everyone seemed to have a great time.
Nice.
Yeah, we've run a bunch of events that are on that scale, if not. Yeah, I think we had about 300 or 400 at some of our previous barcrafts for StarCraft. Yeah. And it just gets pretty crazy if you actually consider how many people there are in one room. You have to start taking into account things like, overheating and ventilation.
Well, I mean, that's like a small concert. Like that's not just having your friends over to watch some video games. It's a pretty sizable event. But I mean, I saw those sort of numbers all over. I mean, on Reddit Dota, I went and kind of skimmed through, and it was like, yo, San Francisco Barcraft, we had 330. DC, we had 400, and it was just like, whoa, like this is pretty crazy. Like every major city seemed to have had a pretty good turnout if they did in fact run Pubstomp for TI3. So, when is the next big Dota event? If people are now hooked, what's the next big thing we can watch them at?
All you got to do is check out Join Dota. It has all the streams and information for all the tournaments.
I will do just that. Cool. What do we got? About 15 minutes left. Michael, I know you're super excited about the lightning round, but I did not have time to actually make a lightning round. And usually, if I have a guest on and I haven't made one yet, I make it through the show. But that's when Nick and Frank talk.
You can't just ask him 10 questions.
I guess I can't just totally ask you 10 questions.
If you get stumped, I'll just ask you.
That's true. Well, no, I'm the only one that can ask lightning round questions.
Yeah, but if you're unprepared, like I'm just saying.
Not unprepared. I was blindsided with 2 absent hosts. All right. Yeah, I'll make these up as I go along. So, Michael, before we jump into this, I will give you the chance to do any shout-outs you want to do. Where can we follow you? UBC Esports, all that. Next events coming up. Anything you want to plug or talk about, this is the time to do so.
Hey, so list of sponsors. Obviously, I work with UBCeSports Association. EXP Restaurant and Bar. EXP Restaurant and Bar is our wonderful host for our previous Pubstomp and a couple other bar crafts. Memory Express is the official sponsor of UBC Esports, along with a couple other electronics companies that go along with that. I'd like to thank a bunch of our local personalities, people like Elheim or Leonardo Marker, for always being a passionate player and helping out with making the posters and whatnot. You can find him on Twitter at Elheim_ or something. Adrian Faxtorp, he comes on.
No, screw that guy.
You know that guy.
We'll skip him. Posting pictures all week of him at TI3, and I was just like, shut up, stop posting these. He's like, why are you so mad? It's just like, him with all these players.
James Choi for being our wonderful president of UBC Esports Association for so long. He's actually not going to be back in Canada this year. He's down in Korea and he has a job. So I guess I think we're like Adrian and I might sort of do this sort of joint de facto leader business for Esports Association for this year. Either way, things are looking like they should be able to run out. I'd like to thank Valve, obviously, for sending us such amazing equipment, for making it really a awesome, passionate event for all the players and all the watchers. Esports Canada, they're the ones who help out with making the posters and helping spread the word for things. UBC for being an awesome school and letting us use all their facilities for our 400-person tournaments, our viewing events, our just being a great place to live.
Fantastic. I can't wait to shit all over Vancouver in the lightning round. All right, so so I'm going to try this lightning round video, and there's a 99% chance it's not going to work, but Nick and Frank are not here, so it may not be cursed anymore. We're going to try it out and see what happens. Instantly, XSplit has crashed. Here we go.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. So it actually worked. There was just a bit of slowdown. Fantastic. So, Mr. Michael Medley from UBCeSports, I know that you've watched all of the 46 episodes that preceded this one. You're a huge EsportsCanadaTV fan, as you should be. But for those people who are friends with Michael and came to watch him play the lightning round and watch him be on the show, I will explain the lightning round, and it goes like this. I will ask you 10 lightning-fast questions. They are physically and mentally exhausting. They will take you to the limit and back, and they show no mercy whatsoever.
So.
I'm very tired as well. I took a nice nap when I got home, though, after eating Vito's Pizza and watching Breaking Bad. So, I will ask you once and only once, Michael Medley from UBCeSports, are you ready for the lightning round?
I'm ready.
Question number 1. Were you attending the Vancouver riots after the Canucks lost in Game 7?
Well, I was lucky enough to avoid the riots, at least. But I could see the smoke from my house.
That's pretty good. And who were you pulling for in Game 7?
Well, I am a true Canucks fan through and through.
There's really no such thing.
Oh, fuck off.
Is there enough room on the bandwagon still? 1 point. Canadian teams will always get 1 point. Screw you, Dave, and the Boston Bruins.
They rule, and everyone in Toronto that was cheering for Vancouver had bought the jersey earlier that day.
Still had the tags on.
Yes.
Tag fans. So 1 point for that, Vancouver. Don't mind the Canucks. Better than the Leafs. So just to clarify, what are your games? Are they strictly Dota? You're obviously a StarCraft fan as well.
Well, StarCraft is my true passion. Like,
Okay.
I played Brood War way back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
I was like C+ and I Cup or something like that.
Yeah.
And I've played a lot of console games, like fighting games, way back when. Like, I was playing with like some of the people on Team BC and Melee for a while. I got into playing FPS games. I played on a couple custom competitive servers in CS like 1.6 for a little while.
Okay.
Back then as well. I played a bit of Unreal Tournament, Quake, etc. Come like high school, I started running tournaments for like Smash Bros, Melee, StarCraft, Brawl, and Counter-Strike. By the time we hit university, that's when we started running big events. I was starting up UBC StarCraft. We were running, big tournaments with big prize pools and like tons of sponsors and whatnot.
Nice.
So through and through, my passion and loyalty is to StarCraft. But the game that I play the most right now is Dota, just because it's a team game. Gives me an excuse to be social with friends.
The correct answer there was all the games. Because you listed, you listed all the games.
I'm one of the most well-rounded, educated gamers there are, at least.
That was just supposed to be a general question, so I could make up a question for number 2, but it turned into a 3-minute reply.
That wasn't very lightning.
That wasn't very lightning at all. It wasn't originally a lightning round question, but I made it into one, and you received no points for it.
Yeah,
So, question number 3: you currently play Dota. Pardon?
Is there a word limit? I can't remember the rules.
No, but I mean,
you're allowed 100.
It's what you can say in one breath. So no points awarded there. Question number 3. So you're a StarCraft fan through and through, but now playing Dota. Can you tell me your perfect 5-man team for Dota using only StarCraft units?
Using only StarCraft units. Well, can we have them at the
Who's your top? Who's in bot? Who's mid? Who's jungle on your 5?
I want like a Mutalisk in the solo off lane, or maybe like a lurker or something with really good mobility, or something that can burrow and have invisibility.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, probably like a Mutalisk overall, because it has good regen, does like decent damage, like pretty decent ganker, would push pretty well,
Yeah. Okay, that's 1 out of the 5. What else you got?
We definitely want to have something like maybe a Stalker or a Blink Stalker, maybe something that can blink around, have some good mobility, good ganking. Bottom lane would definitely be like, the carry would be maybe like an Ultralisk or a Thor. Can you tell that I'm a little bit Zerg biased? Maybe. Jungler, probably have to go for something like. Can I go for like a medic that has like some other unit with it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I can get like a Hellbat with like a Medevac as one unit.
Yeah, that's fair. It's not OP at all.
OP at all.
Yeah, no one uses those in combination.
And then I'd have one more support, probably like an extra Medevac.
Very good. All right, that's a decent 5-man team, and you named a lot of Zerg units, so I'm definitely biased towards that. So 1 point.
Success.
I might have added battle cruiser.
Oh, fuck that.
The Yamato would probably be fairly effective.
No. Then you have to go like 4 battle cruiser and 3 SUVs.
That'd be pretty good. Everyone meet mid. Let's push.
Push level 1. Go.
Question number 4. How attractive is Dendy on a scale of 10 to 11?
It's about a 13 out of 11.
Fantastic. That is correct. That is 1 point. Question number 5. Can't make these up fast enough as I go along. Dave, this is your mystery question. What do you have for Michael?
I would just have to ask you, what is your favorite element on the periodic table above the number 20?
Above the number 20.
Yeah, I don't want to hear hydrogen. Something ridiculous. That's or oxygen.
Well, I've always been a little bit of a fan of fluorine, just because it's really reactive. But I'd have to say that going down through the years, oxygen has been a very important part of my life. It's helped me keep alive and in general. So
sounds like the worst Emmy acceptance speech. It's like, I got to give it up for oxygen. He's always been there, helping me live and whatnot. Yeah, I'm a big fan of oxygen. I can give a point for that.
But yeah, carry on.
Oxygen is pretty good. It's in everything.
Yeah.
Like water. So you're sitting at 4 points right now going into question 6. How do you feel about that, Michael?
I feel pretty ready, pretty pumped. I'm a competitive guy. I've done national long distance swimming for my entire life, so I always go into it with a good mentality.
Wow. Okay, then my next question will be a swimming related question. Since you're dropping these hints, dropping these tidbits. Who is the Michael Phelps of esports?
Who is the Michael Phelps of esports? Okay, well, are we talking about the Michael Phelps in the sense of he's like
bong? I want bong ripping party.
Phelps, the guy who splashes his competitors in the face and fingers them, and he's not such a cool guy.
He fingered his competitor.
I want the guy who fingers people.
Give us both. Give us the bong ripping, cereal eating.
Well, MC's sort of the personality that has a little bit of passion behind it.
Okay.
On top of that, sorry about that. MC's definitely one of the entertaining guys. I'm a really big fan of Firebat Hero, but in terms of the one who's won the most, you gotta consider people like MVP. You gotta consider people like Flash, like Jaedong, like Nada, like Savior, and Dota. You gotta say Navi.
All right. You named a lot of StarCraft people, and I like that, so I'm gonna give you a point.
You just said everyone and hope something stuck. MC was the right answer though, so that's
yeah. I knew Dave. I knew Dave was smiling as soon as you said MC.
Yeah.
He's a big MC mark. Vancouver.
Firebat Hero also good.
Yeah, Firebat Hero.
All right, that's a good answer as well. Because he did actually go swimming.
That's true.
That's right. He went swimming at the finals.
He's the only one that actually went swimming during a StarCraft match.
So where are we right now? Question 7. So you're 5 right now, going into question 7. I know Vancouver is pretty good yoga scene as well as sushi. So I want to know, there's a right answer and a wrong answer here. When is the last time you participated in both of those activities? Not together, not at the same time.
Together?
But
okay, well,
not together, but
sushi I had on Thursday, and yoga was about 6 months ago, and it was in hot yoga. I don't know if you guys even know what that is out east.
Oh no, we still perform it in our igloos. So
yeah. Well, you lock yourselves in a room with an instructor and like 30 or 40 other disgusting people, and the room is preheated. The room is preheated to like 35 or 40 degrees Celsius, and you're sweating before you even get in the room. And, it was disgusting. But yeah, one of my other friends is trying to get me into acro yoga, which is apparently something where you like toss people around on your feet. So maybe I'll do that.
Lay off the weed, Vancouver. Lay off the weed. All right, half a point there. because you said a lot of weird terms that shattered my fragile East Coast mind. So you're sitting right now at 5.5. Going into question 8. Is this an actual question you have in chat, Dave? Because I don't know what that last word is.
It was, yeah, don't worry about that. It was very similar to my other one, but I can give you one if you like.
Oh, I get it now. Okay. Yeah, Dave, fill us in with question 8 here.
All right. If you were a pirate, what would your pirate nickname be?
My pirate nickname?
Yeah.
Well, I'd probably have to go with some sort of reference to StarCraft.
Yeah.
So maybe something along the lines of like, okay, hear me out. Have you guys played the Dwarf campaign?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so do you know like Kerrigan's like death scream?
Is that your pirate name?
Yeah.
Like,
I would just be screaming at people.
I'd be like, just like Captain Blah.
All right.
It's the dreaded blah, the pirate.
All right. I guess that would instill fear. The dreaded Captain Beard. Something like that. Right.
You get pirate. You get
Yeah.
pirate.
You just
So
get a
many
P
points.
added next to your score.
You just get a P for pirate.
With the multiplier, in case we didn't understand.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
like
8P.
by a power of 10.
So right now you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.5 P right now. Going into question 9. Question 9 says this is the laziest lightning round of all time, and we were completely unprepared with giving you questions. Not gonna lie, I found out who was on our show tonight about a half hour before the show went down.
You feel special?
Not to say I wasn't just because who the guest was or anything, but just I've been very busy the last week trying to run my own event that I did not look to see who our guest was this week. But you wouldn't know that if you watched the rest of the show, would you? At least I'm here. So this is your chance to ask either Dave or I your own lightning round question.
So, when are you guys going to have hired positions in Esports Canada where we can actually make some money?
How are the aviation skills of pigs doing at the moment, Dave?
Pretty good.
Do we have a projected date on that yet?
Honestly, the technology's not there yet.
Yes, okay.
For that sort of thing.
I get it.
Non-profit
I get it.
organization. No salary.
Yeah.
We pay in passion.
Yeah, we make lots of
salaries
esports
for non-profit organizations. It just means
I know, but
the organization.
But when we say non-profit, we mean we don't have one.
Yeah, I've got about 1,200 backlogged hours from the past 6 months that I'm still waiting to get paid on. So if there's any salaried positions, we got about 2 years of retroactive pay we got to send out first. But as soon as humanly possible is the answer.
Yeah.
That is something we definitely want to do. Right after we run more events and start making money. So that was a very personal question. It was rude. -1 point.
Oh, come on, are you excited for the chance of you guys getting paid?
Yes.
No, that's so selfish. I think some
Yeah.
of them.
I can't believe you would say that.
Yeah.
I can't believe you would bring money into esports.
Yeah, ridiculous. No one's in.
You know, only like a couple $1 million on the line for Dota 2.
I have a bunch of the receipts
That's
here.
not money.
Yeah, Dave, did you have to go and make a second beer run?
I did have to make a second beer run.
Yeah. Was it more than the first run?
It was. It was indeed. I think we sold 100. Pretty good.
500 beers, eh?
I learned one important thing about. Are you familiar with Mill Street?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not a big fan, but.
Well, no, and it turns out no one is. But it turns out a lot of people are fans in theory. And they asked, we put up a poll on what beers people would want at the Pubstomp. And Mill Street was like number 2 or 3. And then we sold out of the first case of it really, really quick. So I went and bought 3 more. And then no one drank any of them.
Gosh, good.
It turns out that people like Mill Street and will buy it. But the people that like Mill Street are like 1 beer, like cheap dates, and then they can't drink any more than that. Whereas the Keiths just keeps on coming.
A whole lot of Nick songs in the crowd, eh?
Yeah, tons of Nick songs drinking their. I should have known, like, organic beer. Like, you're not gonna have 3. You hippie.
So number 10, you are at 5.5p minus 1, so 4.5p right now. 4.5p. Going into question number 10.
Yeah, this better be a good answer.
This better be the best answer you've ever possibly come up with ever. So Michael Medley from UBCeSports. Question number 10, the final question. You need to make up a lot of ground here. I need you to describe to me the most Canadian esports game that ever existed. Explain to me what the game is. It's the most Canadian esports game ever. That's the tagline for the game. What is the game?
Okay, I'm gonna have to go with something along the lines of like Oregon Trail Hockey Canada on ice with igloos and snowmen and Eskimos.
And Eskimos.
Yeah.
I've been a Canadian for almost 27 years, and I've never seen an Eskimo.
They're around.
That's true.
Yeah, they're around.
I've only ever seen like 2 snowmen, too.
Okay.
I don't really get what your game is.
Okay. So we would have like some RPG elements because it's like Oregon Trail. You have to like traverse across the hockey rink to the other side. You would have to like maybe start a couple riots on the way, while you're on the west side of the rink, and as you move over to the east side, it just slowly gets colder and colder and colder to the point where your piss starts freezing before it hits the ground. And
so are you like really tiny or just really slow?
What?
Like a rink is not that big, so.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's sort of like a cross-country rink type situation.
Okay.
See, I was looking for. I think the most Canadian game would be like a MOBA, but each team was with hockey players.
And everyone has to say sorry every time they run into each other.
Yeah, that's how you attack. Is like who can say sorry the most. Like, oh, he's got the sorry gank going. It's just like you're playing, and all of a sudden some guy comes up behind you and bumps into you and says sorry, and you lose. You lose points instead of towers.
You buy him a beer to make up for it.
All the items are just beer and scarves, and the towers are snowmen.
Yeah, the team that loses all its teeth first wins.
All right, very good answer. Let's see, how many points? 4.5. Let's turn that P into an X2. That's what the 10 is. This is the weirdest lightning round of all time. So if the P becomes an X2, then the 4.5 times 2, solve for X, carry that. 9. You scored 9 out of 10, Michael. So congratulations. I realized at this point that I didn't have the lightning round music on, but no damage done. So congratulations, 9 points out of 10. Pretty good showing. That does in fact qualify you for the end of the year Tournament of Champions for the lightning round, where we bring back the top scores throughout the year to fight it off in a grand final 16-man bracket. So congratulations, and we can't wait to see you in November.
Is it double elimination?
It is in fact double elimination, and it is in fact triple fake, because it doesn't exist, so don't get excited.
Nuts.
I did want to talk a ton about the Fredericton Gaming Expo because I had the time of my life. We broke the record for Atlantic Canada. We had 600 people show up throughout the weekend, which shattered anything east of Montreal in history, and I couldn't be happier of the work that all the volunteers and organizers and even the competitors and anyone that just showed up to hang out, all the work that they did was amazing. So thank you if you attended that event or knew about it or did anything involved with it. You're the best, and I truly appreciate it.
I knew about it, and you're welcome.
That's all I ask.
Good.
But maybe next week when Nick and Frank are on, because I know they'll want to hear about it and see about it, and then I'll have more pictures and videos and whatnot. But yeah, some pretty crazy stuff happened. We gave away a ton of money, a ton of prizes, and had a whole lot of fun. So anything else, Dave, you want to talk about? There's a Toronto StarCraft tournament coming up at the end of the month. Dave, can you plug that?
Yeah, there's a Toronto StarCraft tournament coming up at the end of the month. It's on the 31st at Net Effect. Anyone that's been out to our previous ones familiar with that location. We're going to do the format a little different. We're going to do groups into a bracket that we basically use the space a little better. So that people aren't having to switch computers and stuff like that. So it should run a little smoother. I see that you have the WCG online tournament on there as well. I was in that, and that was kind of cool. I also did the LAN one earlier.
How was the online qualifier? You make it fun, or?
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
They had the French-English streams going.
Nice.
People were chatting.
How far did you make it?
It looked like I think the 3rd round losers.
Not bad.
Then I was killed horribly.
And Jake ended up taking it, didn't he?
Yeah, and I had to play Jake in the 1st round.
Wow. Well, at least you
Sorry
lost
to
the
interrupt,
champion.
guys. But I'm just going to have to thank you guys for letting me on the show. Check us out on UBC Sports Association on Facebook. Check out EXP Bar. Thank Memory Express. I got to go. I got to go grab some food.
Sure.
Yep. Yeah, no problem.
Talk to these guys later.
No problem. I don't think we've ever had a guest just leave like that.
I think it's because we didn't offer to pay him a salary.
That's true. Thank you to our guest this evening, Michael Medley from UBCeSports, who just ran the Vancouver Pubstomp, which was a massive success. I can only guess that there's going to be more Dota events coming to Canada. And guess what else coming to Canada, Dave?
Oh, is it something big like the NASL WCS Canada? Oh my God!
It may in fact be that thing that you just said.
All right.
We don't really know too many details yet, except they did say on stream on Sunday, I believe, that NASL will be coming back to Toronto sometime in October, I believe, for WCS. I'm not sure if it's WCS North America Finals or the entire finals for Season 3 or what it is. I've heard both. So
I've heard both as well, but then I'm thinking, when is BlizzCon?
BlizzCon's like a month after that is the actual grand finals.
Right.
If you look at the schedule on Team
year,
Liquid,
right?
yeah, that's the finals for the whole year. So they'll crown a Season 3 champion, and I think it's like 3 weeks later they do the grand finals for the entire year, which is at BlizzCon. So, because I feel like, where are the Season 2 grand finals being held? Okay. Tony, you know this stuff.
Right in the southern region. I have no idea where it is. Is it in North America? Or is it Europe?
That's what I'm thinking. Season 2 is in Europe, and then Season 3 is North America,
That's
right? Because
what I
Season
thought.
1 was
So
Korea.
it
Because
would
I thought it
make
was
sense
split
that it
up
was
where it was one in each
that's what I thought.
area. But we'll figure that out. I'm sure NASL will be releasing
Germany,
something.
maybe?
Yeah,
Mario
sure.
says Germany. Let's say Germany.
Let's say it's in Germany, everyone.
Yeah, it's at TLO's house.
Yeah. Okay. So head to TLO's house. It's 205 Bratwurst Street,
Yeah.
in Germany.
Yeah.
So we'll see you all there. I'm flying out. Are you, Dave?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Seats together on the plane,
I'm
or
going to take yeah, I suppose. I don't know if we should be on the same plane together. If it goes down, esports is doomed.
That's true. That's too much talent in one plane.
Yeah, it's way too much.
I don't even think the plane could take off. They'd be like, sir,
the pilot would literally...
we'd have to sit on either end of the plane to keep the balance.
That too.
So it is going to be in Cologne, Germany, so I think that does make sense. It may, in fact, be the entire WCS Season 3 finals, not just North America. So that's pretty amazing. We're going to see 16 of the best Koreans in the world facing off for the Season 3 finals.
Yeah, maybe a Scarlet or something in there, too.
That's true.
Who knows?
That'd be amazing.
Although, actually, she's not... I don't know if she's actually going to be in it because of the wrist thing.
That's true.
So maybe
Hopefully
not.
she is.
But hopefully somebody, and hopefully her.
Hopefully Canadians show up. Henderlisk.
And so on. Yeah, Henderlisk. Why
He'll
not,
make it.
dude?
All right, so thank you again to our guest tonight, Michael Medley from UBCeSports. You can follow everything they do at UBCeSports on Twitter. Next week's guest, we're going to have Matthew Trivett, a.k.a. Saticist, caster for ESEA, and as well as IGL. He's a big FPS guy. And joining him will be Canadian Halo pro Matthew Warkentin. Warkentin. That's what it is. Matt Warkentin.
Yeah, that sounds.
he's the Canadian Halo pro. So that's going to be.
It's like one of the names you make up. To get objects around the room.
We're going to be talking about FPS games, both Canadian and global. Call of Duty's kind of seen a rise lately with their addition to MLGs, and now that SC2 is not going to be at MLG upcoming in the fall, maybe COD's going to have a bit of a bigger spot there. So we're going to be talking about the FPS scene next week, so if you're interested in that, definitely tune in, and if you're not, tune in anyway.
Yeah, just do it.
Thank you so much to our dedicated hosts, Nick and Frank. Yeah, I know it's really tough to work and then come home. You guys are definitely tired from the weekend. I didn't do anything, so that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And so hopefully they get some rest and they're here next week, because we would hate to not have them here for another episode.
They're looking at the education of next generation of horrible, bratty children.
These children have no future.
No.
And
Prove
thank
me
you.
wrong, kids.
Prove me
Prove me
wrong. What was it? These gym mats have tons of nutrients, whatever it is. Anyways, thank you to my co-host tonight, Andrew Shore, Dave Creamer. Last word from you, Dave.
Yeah, there's not very much meat in these gym mats.
Very little meat in these gym mats.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I drink tons of milk, with vitamin R.
Say that Uter. We ate Uter.
All right, we have to end this now before it turns into 15 minutes of Simpsons
We can
quotes.
continue like that for.
This is the end. This is the end
of
of dog racing. This has been Esports Canada TV episode number 47. Remember to head to Indiegogo and look for the Good Luck Have Fun documentary. I know Gavin Seal needs more money, and we want to see that documentary be the best it can possibly be. He wants to tour all around North America and make a pretty fantastic movie, and I know he has the skills and passion to do so. So please help him out if you can go in there and donate. $5, $10, 10,000, whatever you can handle, you rich esports bastards. Thanks to our guest, and next week we're going to be talking FPS, so tune into that. I've been your host, at Quinn of the Net. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/esportscanada, and on Twitter, esports_Canada. Good night.
Are we off? That dragged on. Now we're not off? Hi, people. See, we get a sting.